Well, hello, Dirtfish Rally friends. It's the end of day 2 here at Rally Croatia, and once again, Luke Barry, we have seen some drama out there in the stages. I think we really do have to start this review with our overnight leader, who was Thierry Neuville. Decent first couple of stages of the morning. It all went wrong in the third stage this morning. Talk to us, Luke, about what happened.
Yeah, it was just an unfortunate incident for Neuville, who was, as you say, leading. He had extended his lead over Elvin Evans back into double figures, but approaching quite a sort of medium speed right-hander. He wasn't actually quite sure what had gone wrong. He said he had to go back and review it, but he'd come into a corner just a little bit too fast, hit a concrete sort of well with the left rear of his car, and that from there was disaster. He nosed a tree with the front, he spat off into the undergrowth, and it was game over for him. It was game over.
Really, really disappointing for Thierry Neuville. He had a job to do this weekend. He was desperate to win this one to honour his friend Craig Breen. But you know, this is such a tough rally. It catches you out so easily and so quickly. And as I say, the battle this morning was between Thierry Neuville and the man who's in one of these bays back here. How far? The first one at the very end there.
Yeah.
Elvin Evans. You know what? Elvin Evans then inherited a really decent lead, didn't he? And he went into service at lunchtime with a, 22-second lead, I think, over Tänak. At that point, we're thinking, Evans now has to manage this.
Yep.
Didn't quite go that way for him though, did it?
No, it's a strange one. If you looked at it purely on statistics, you'd think he has a great afternoon, that he's extended his lead over Tänak. But really the story of the day was more with Tänak's blinding pace to keep chewing away at that advantage, but an issue for Tänak towards the end of the day allowed Evans to build his gap back up. So it gives him around about 25 seconds heading into tomorrow, which, well, I've been racking my brains, I've been trying to think about it. I don't remember the last time he's had such a great gap going into a final day.
He's got a wonderful lead, but let's talk a little bit about Tänak, because things seem to have turned around, and the most important thing with Tänak is that he gets comfortable in the car. He finds a setup, he finds a way of driving that car that suits his driving style, suits the homologation that they're stuck to with that car. He seemed to find that today. Those first 2 stages this afternoon, he was chewing away at Evans' lead, and it was down to 10 seconds. And then once again, a niggling problem. We're not quite sure yet exactly what that problem was. He did mention a handbrake. But Tänak is putting a championship challenge together. They need to really do their best, and I'm sure they are doing their best, to cut out these little issues.
Yeah, it's difficult because of all the 3 cars at the minute, it's probably not too unfair to say the Puma maybe is lacking a little bit of reliability compared to the Yaris in the i20. And as you say, it is niggling little problems. It's not major things, but they all add up. When the gaps are as close as they are in the WRC, you cannot afford to be giving these seconds away, because if it wasn't for that, I'd be very surprised if Tänak wasn't right on Evans' bumper, if not even potentially ahead of him going into tomorrow.
Well, we haven't caught up with him yet because he's not in the media zone yet, but we will catch up with him and you will hear from him, and this is what he had to say.
Some transmission, some hydraulic problem probably with the handbrake, but it was not really hampering the last stage, so there we had some chassis things, so yeah, let's see, quite few things I think we have at the moment, so definitely good to be here.
Yeah, well, that really is good to be here, but it's 25 seconds now. 54 kilometres I think we've got left tomorrow. The pace was incredible when you were on it. Is that still achievable tomorrow?
It's tricky. it's short, and we know the stages quite well, so for sure we keep going, but for him it looks quite easy now.
So Tänak with it all to do again tomorrow. 54 kilometres tomorrow, 25 seconds. It's an enormous ask. It really is. Probably too much unless something goes wrong for Elvin.
Yeah, you'd think
so. But Elvin Evans, he needed a confidence boosting run on this event. Listen, it's been far from perfect. This afternoon, he's openly admitted he struggled, and had he not been struggling, well, had Tänak not had his issues, I think we'd have seen literally a handful of seconds between them at the end of the day. But a huge day for Elvin Evans today, to lead, as you say, by 25 seconds at the end of the day. Will he take positives from it? He must do.
It's a funny one. Knowing Elvin, I bet he won't. You look at it and you'll see the fact that he hasn't been that quick, but really he has to. He's in a great opportunity now. As you say, he hasn't won since Finland in 2021, and I know he doesn't like us banding around with that statistic, but winning isn't a habit for Elvin anymore.
Nope.
So tomorrow is a huge day for him to prove any doubts, if they do exist, wrong. to convert this over the line. And as you say, championship-wise, massively important for him.
And do you know what? Certain rallies these days have become sprints, and it is about out-and-out pace and who is the fastest. Strategic rallies are few and far between in the championship, and when you put a bit of strategy into a rally and you look at the jeopardy involved, it's not always all about speed. And whoever wins this rally, whether it be Elfyn Evans or Tänak or whoever wins it, will have deserved to win it, because it is such a difficult rally. If you go into this rally, as maybe a couple of drivers have, with that mentality, I'm going to go as fast as I can, almost inevitably you're going to have problems.
Yeah.
So the fact that Evans hasn't had any big issues out there is a massive credit to him in really, really challenging conditions.
You're right. You are right, actually, because there are some that haven't had it easy. There's been different factors involved in it, punctures or anything else like that. But yeah, Elfyn, he's driven really, really well. So fingers crossed that everything goes smoothly for both Evans and Tänak tomorrow.
Well, this is what Elfyn Evans told us at the end of the day.
Yeah, obviously we managed today with no mistakes, not really any major time loss through issues, but obviously not super happy with my afternoon. But obviously it's a bit part of the game here, to also stay on the road for one, and obviously stay out of trouble.
You're finding that window of performance, aren't you? But keeping yourself within that window is proving really difficult in these cars.
For me, yes. Certain conditions, obviously, that still don't quite hit the button, and then there's other conditions I can seem to do really well. So, still work to do.
25 seconds of a lead going into the final day, Elfyn. It's been a wee while. Will you sleep well tonight, or might there be a few nerves?
I have to say, I'm sure I'm going to sleep pretty well, to be honest. It's been a long day, so need to try and make the most of the short night.
So the two at the front, really the battle that we're going to watch. It's not the battle that we anticipated with 2 stages to go today, unfortunately. But, it still will be interesting. There's enough in these stages. As we've seen already, we haven't had a loop of stages without some kind of drama in this event. And, the weather might yet play into the whole mix of things tomorrow. We'll wait and see. In third place, it is Esa-Pekka Lappi, an up and down event, but another driver who deserves enormous credit for sticking at it. He's a long way off the battle for the lead, but he's got a really comfortable gap to the guys who are in 4th and 5th place. A lot of credit to Lappi for the way he's bounced back after a really difficult Monte Carlo on tarmac.
Yeah.
He's bounced back, he's done a great job out there.
100%. Yeah, I'd love to add a lot to that, but I don't think there's much else we can say. He is in a bit of no man's land, as you pointed out. So tomorrow's is going to be about bringing that result home. But obviously Neuville, we thought he was definitely in contention to win the rally, but 3rd place isn't the result Hyundai maybe would have wanted, but it's still something to take away from the weekend, so I'm sure he'll bring that home.
But do you know what is worth maybe just talking for a minute or two about? The fact that we have drivers out there like Lappi, like Evans, and to a degree, and I'll say this on tarmac, Kalle Rovanperä, who cannot find a comfortable setup, who are up and down, really competitive, really nervous. Kind of okay, competitive, nervous again. And I don't recall, certainly in past years, drivers normally make progress, consolidate, move on, consolidate. It's up and it's down and it's up and it's down so much with these Rally 1 cars with particular drivers.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Wouldn't it be great to sit in the engineering debrief at the end of the event and find out all of this? That's our job, to find out as much as we can, but obviously drivers are as guarded as they can get away with. But we've said it before several times across the weekend, and indeed probably across the last 12 months, a lot of it is with these Rally 1 cars, isn't it? There's not as much customization or tunability with these compared to the World Rally cars drivers had before. And when you're used to having a massive tool set of things, when you suddenly take about half of that away, it's difficult to find the sweet spot.
It really has been difficult for certain drivers to find the sweet spot. Ogier has found a sweet spot. He's been remarkably quick since we've seen him back since, the Rally 1 cars. We were talking about it earlier. Maybe one rally, what was it, Portugal?
Portugal, I think,
where he was a little bit quick. Other than that, he's been the class of that category for sure, no question about that. Talking about Ogier, a little bit of an interesting incident this morning for him. He was late into the opening stage. Unusually, this remarkably slick team behind him, by the sound of things, made a little mistake. Yeah. And there's something not quite right with that car when he left service, and he had to go into full mechanic mode on the road section to get into the stage and get through the loop.
I don't know, it's not the things, I like to explain. I don't want to, we're all doing mistake, and something was forgotten on the suspension side, let's say, and I had to
I had to fix it.
How quickly did you realise there was an issue?
Strangely, only when I started warming the tires, because driving very slow on the road section, I couldn't feel it. And then when I just like starting to make a little bit of load, then I realized there's something wrong.
Very unexpected, but it's one of those things. Ogier's weekend obviously unravelled with first the two issues on special stage 2, then the 1 minute penalty with the seatbelt infringement on last night. He got that penalty, so it's just going a little from bad to worse. But he does find himself in 5th overall overnight, only a couple seconds behind. Or was he ahead of his teammate?
He's ahead of his teammate, Robin. There's only a few seconds between Sebastian Ogier in 4th and Kalle Rovanperä in 5th. Both those drivers have done what they had to do today. They've got in front of the M Sport Ford manufacturer scoring car of Pierre-Louis Loubet. Listen, Ogier will not finish ahead of Rovanperä tomorrow unless something disastrous happens to Rovanperä and he drops down the standings. Ogier and Rovanperä will swap positions. I've got absolutely no doubt about that whatsoever. But we'll wait and see. I've been wrong many times in the past. So look, once again, this rally has delivered in terms of the challenge and the drama out there today.
100%, and we've seen it in the last couple of years. This rally has always gone down to the end. There's always been something to keep people on their toes. The conditions, the weather, everything makes it a completely different and unique challenge of the World Championship. And I think it's fair to say that this year has lived up to it. I don't want to jinx anything, but Croatia has never been won by more than, let's combine the 2 years.
Yes.
It's under 5 seconds,
Yes.
2 winning margins.
Always been close, hasn't it?
Has always been close. That's
Absolutely.
a very convoluted statistic for you, but I like that sort of stuff. Apologies.
And don't forget, folks, if you can't wait for tomorrow morning for your fix of rally action, it's going right through the night in North America with the Olympus Rally. Our Dirtfish Live Centre is open and operating. For all the news from the Olympus Rally, go to dirtfish.com, click on the drop-down menu, click on Live Centre, and we'll keep you up to date with all the action as it unfolds at Olympus. Listen, who can forget that incredible final day that we had here in Croatia last year? Can we look forward to something similar tomorrow? Who knows? That's all I can say. Who knows? You look at the leaderboard tonight and you say, well, maybe not. But who knows what the stages of Croatia might hold for us tomorrow. It's been a great day out there today. Thank you very much for joining us for all our coverage on dirtfish.com. That is the place to be tomorrow for the final day of Rally Croatia.